Okay, so chapter 3, plate tectonics. So our main goals here are to introduce the theory of plate tectonics and the types of boundaries that we have with plate tectonics. And this chapter is really important because we're going to use it throughout the semester to try and everything kind of ties back to these plate boundaries. That's where all the exciting stuff happens with geology. So we'll often, when we get to igneous rocks, we'll be relating it to plate boundaries. With metamorphism, we'll be relating it to plate boundaries. With deformation, plate boundaries. So we want to make sure we understand plate boundaries pretty well and this whole idea of plate tectonics. And we'll also see how not just the types of plate boundaries, but the features that we expect to see at each of these plate boundaries. So where do we get earthquakes? Where do we get volcanoes? And where do we get mountains? And not just that, but why do those things happen? So if you understand why those features happen, it's really easy to remember where things occur at the plate boundaries. So this chapter will be on your first exam. And so I will be choosing one of these concept sketch questions. What you can see, what you want to really focus on is that each of these questions focuses on a different type of plate boundary. So we have divergent, we have convergent, and then we have transform. And so in each of these, you'll be asked to draw a sketch to explain what's going on at these boundaries. And you'll want to pay attention to if it specifically asks you for a cross-section or a block diagram. So, or an evolutionary diagram, which is a series of diagrams. So you'll want to make sure you understand the different types of plate boundaries because that's really the focus for each of these questions, a different type of plate boundary. So that's where we're going. If when you're doing your homework you don't understand something, then you should definitely ask about those questions later. I know that this last question, students typically struggle with the transform boundaries and fracture zones and mid-ocean ridges, which are divergent plate boundaries. So please let me know if you're struggling there.